This program is rated MA. It contains adult themes, coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Friday night. It's Open Comms again. We're all here except for the Canadians. This is an American show tonight. For an American
USA.
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 We got I'm Drayden. We got Dirk here. How's it going, Dirk?
What's up?
And Rain's here.
Hello, how are you?
And we got Blast 'em to Hell.
Yo.
Oh man. All right. Yeah, that's the intros to the show notes.
It's what?
I said that's the intros. Do I go to the
Great
show notes
start.
now?
I just forgot. Jin's supposed to be coming, so he's not going to be on.
Is he?
He's
Oh,
not going to
wait.
be on cam, but
Mrs. Country is here, and I told her I was going to wear this shirt. It says "Later, bitches," so I'm gonna show it.
I thought you had it. I was wondering if your shirt said "Later, bitches."
oh my god, you can show your boobs like all
It's
the other women
backwards.
streamers out there.
Okay, now, please, just don't discriminate against what I wear, okay?
It's pink. That's very sexist.
I love pink. I absolutely love the color pink.
All right, Jin's here. I forgot we switched TeamSpeak servers. So.
Oh yeah. I'm afraid to give him powers in my TeamSpeak. Do I give it to him?
Oh.
I need to give him powers. Nobody deserves goddamn powers.
Yeah, we see what happened when England had power last time and look at how that worked out for him. USA.
Anyways,
USA.
instead of talking about it later,
we
just
accidentally
real
created
quick.
the world's greatest superpower.
Instead of talking about it later, just real quick, Rain, what was that shit you were jabbering on about in the Open Comms channel today?
Oh, are you talking about like the Twitch drama?
Yeah. Is there like some another bout of Twitch boobygate going on?
So my issue with Twitch has always been their inconsistency, and I've always bitched about it. And everyone's like, "Oh, whatever, Rain. Like, whatever. Like, you're just kind of being dramatic." Well, it turns out apparently people are finally realizing that I'm not being that dramatic, and that Twitch actually is terrible at consistency and enforcing their rules. And I think that's just kind of now coming to light with a bunch of the partnership of Twitch. And so people are kind of picking sides, and it all, in essence, has to do with females who stream in minimal clothing, which people are trying to make like misogynistic or trying to dictate what women wear. But the reality is, to me, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with how Twitch enforces things. I can get into it later as a drunk rant if you want.
Oh, that'd be even better.
I thought we would do it at a time when we're not like all
I mean,
all
I can
freaking
go
wasted
into
and talking
it.
a bunch of
Yeah.
shit that somebody goes, "Oh my god, you misogynist assholes" or whatever.
I mean,
Well, it's
yeah,
okay
I
if
go
Rain
into it,
says
so-
it, right? That's not misogynistic at all.
Oh, please. Women can be misogynistic. But no, so the issue is like, so with Twitch, so Twitch broke away from Justin TV to be a gaming channel, right? And then they started coming up with music, creativity, and then now the IRL. And so IRL is pretty much anything besides gaming, or it can't really fit in any category, but the focus is to focus on you in the chat, is you talking to your chat, showing them your life, etc. Obviously, normal Twitch rules apply, so like you can't be just like, "Hey guys, watch me get super drunk and like kill myself on stream." You can't like go out and try to murder somebody in real life. You can't do, obviously you have to stick within the rules of Twitch. You don't have to focus on a game. Well, what some people have done, and particularly women, knowing that sex sells, they will dress up very sexually. They'll do like just get dance games, or they'll work out, or do something like that for the intent of showing off their bodies as well as making money for it. And people are like, "Oh, well, there's my free cams, there's this, there's that." Well, there's a difference because you're not actually doing like sex or like masturbating, which is against Twitch's rules on IRL streams. And so some people have taken up against this. Like some people say, "Oh, well, women who stream with less clothing are taking my viewers, or they're taking away from quality streams, or that's not content," or they just want to bitch about something because women are in scanty clothing, right? So that's kind of what, like, one guy, I guess big, I don't know if he's big, but like some streamer took like took out his rage on a live stream, and a lot of other people saw it and they're like, oh my
Who does
gosh.
that? Who does
I know,
that?
I know, right?
No,
Like,
I
who's getting,
saw
like, really
the little
angry
video
on a
clip,
live
and the
stream?
guy was intense. He sounded like
Was he like full Keemstar or like?
it was like a
what
Rush
percentage
Limbaugh,
of
but Rush
Keemstar was
Limbaugh
he
doesn't
at?
even get that mad. Who's that one?
I've never understood why people get fucking ragey on Twitch. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but like, that's what
I
he
can't
did, right?
believe it. Who does that?
So I didn't actually watch the clip, but I mean, you can kind of summarize it as him saying, "I hate women who stream and show off their cleavage. They should not be streamers. Fuck Twitch," or something. It was something along those
What I
lines.
got
So-
from his rant was that Twitch belongs to depressed people with horrible social lives, and everyone else and the popular people can go fuck themselves and get off of our channel. That's what I got from his rant, which sounded really fucking stupid to me.
that
But-
sounds even worse than what I thought
Was
it
it-
was.
So Drake Dan, are you saying that it was literally normies get out re?
Yeah, it was, because like I listened to the
Great, Dan.
like the breakdown. He's like, this used to be a place for gamers, for people that were shunned by society and all this stuff, and now you have all these, you know, like, I'm not going to use the words he used towards, but like he's like, they have these who are the popular people who we came to this place to get away from, and now they're taking all our view. It's like, okay, so you're mad that someone more popular than you is like coming onto Twitch? Dude, Twitch is for anyone with a fucking internet. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and so like, but he goes on this rant, and a lot of people only viewing the clips, because I mean, obviously Drayden got it different, but they were like, oh my gosh, this guy's being misogynistic. He's talking about like how terrible women are, or this or that, and so he got banned, and he was pissed. So he's like, oh my god, I got banned, and so he takes it to Twitter because obviously his Twitch channel is banned for like 5 days. It's not that long. And so he's like pissed. And so people find the tweets or some of the Twitch channels that were like speaking out against him. They're like, no, I don't like what you're saying. And it turned into what one guy had like some rant, which apparently he does all the time, to other people saying, no, that's not cool. And then it kind of turned into this crazy circular witch hunt of like people who are misogynistic versus social justice warriors. Like that was like kind of like the fucking free flowing thing. And
So
I think,
normal. So
Yeah, so it's
nothing.
like the
So nothing new
normal,
from the
like-
last
Yeah,
10
yeah,
times
yeah.
we've had.
So an
Yeah.
argument over the internet.
yeah, and but
I like
But I
Shizu.
think-
He's like, they took her gerbs.
yeah, and like that's what people are acting like, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but the thing is like
Build
people
a
are
wall of
now,
boobies.
but people are now understanding like how hypocritical Twitch is with their enforcement of rules, right? So like Dirk took off his pants during the Vegas stream, right?
And take off my
No, he
pants.
didn't.
You were
No, I
you were
did not.
No, he
attempting to
went, he
take
went
off
down
your
the butt
pants.
crack.
It's okay
But
to
like-
attempt.
but it's
I
like
just
one of those
lowered the
things.
back a little bit.
But it was like
Oh,
one of those
right.
things, right? Like if you did that versus like what if, you know, somebody who like you know, like what if a big streamer did that? You think they would face any repercussions, or did we not face any repercussions because we're on the Imperium channel? Like I've had partner streamers use their viewers to threaten me and my channel saying, oh, I'm gonna talk to people at Twitch and get you banned and this and that. And I go to Twitch and I'm like, what do I do? Like I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't break any rules. Like what's going to happen? And like they just don't respond. They ignore me. I've had
Yeah,
one person follow me around to every Twitch channel, literally harassing me about real life. And I've reported him every single time. I blocked him every single time. I've used /ignore, which apparently doesn't work.
That's a
And nope.
shitty thing.
Yeah.
Are you on the beta?
And so
Oh, that's like slash unhost. So don't worry.
yeah, but no, I mean it's one of those things, right? And so people are now realizing that it's not just Rain, you're being dramatic. They're now seeing it because I believe it was I think it was Lyric. Yeah, I was talking about Lyric. How Lyric had an emote which was a butt, right? And it was like a closed butt, and then it was like a cartooned butt. It wasn't like a real butt. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna do this emote because it.
crack on it, I think, is what made it.
Yeah.
weird.
And so, but the thing is Twitch denied that link. And then they're like, he's like, okay, well, how is this fair? Because then Twitch said like, oh, it's not following the terms of service because, you know, it's an ass or whatever. But then you look at other people's emotes and their body parts too. Obviously not nude body parts, but like there's other cleavage, there's other
Yeah,
butt
yeah.
ones. But then
Well,
you
that-
also go to Twitch IRL with some of these streamers who are just streaming themselves working out. And it's not a, hey, I'm going to work out and bench press or do this or that workout. It's a, hey guys, donate money and I'm going to do a squat and really and yoga pants and face towards the camera type thing.
Yeah,
And
well-
so he's like, so people are now seeing this hypocrisy, right? You ban an emote that's a cartoon that has nothing sexual about it besides the fact that it's a butt. But granted, everyone has a butt. Like, who cares? Butts are great, whatever. Versus somebody who's has been reported multiple times, or streamers have been reported multiple times for wearing booty shorts where you can see like their ass hanging out, or like midriff tops where you can see their stomachs, or this or that, or like, I mean, hell, there's a fucking streamer who flashed her vagina and she is still streaming.
I was watching a stream one time. I was like, it was a League of Legends stream.
Oh,
And I
she
looked,
flashed it or
But
flashed
no,
No,
was
no.
that by accident?
You-
That was
Hold
by
on.
accident, though.
It doesn't. No, I mean, who accidentally doesn't wear underwear and wears super booty shorts, right? Like,
Yeah, well, hold on.
that's
the one time I've ever seen live a Twitch channel get banned. I've never seen it before. I was looking at League of Legends streams because I was about to start watching like some LCS games, and I looked. I'm like, wow, this channel has almost as much as Riot's channel does. It's got like 30,000 people watching it, and I've never heard of this person. So I clicked on it. Oh, it's a chick sitting in a chair banging herself with a dildo. And then literally 20 seconds later, it's like, this stream has been closed by the community. I'm like, there she goes. She's gone.
Yeah, right.
But,
But
it's
like
that
that's
was
the
a cool
thing,
20
right?
seconds. I mean,
But see, that's the thing, right? So something very blatant like that, or like we all know about the E player who was attempting suicide earlier, right? Like stuff like that is banned
Yeah.
against
just
terms of
posted-
service. Yeah, so Blasphemy was talking about that, but it's at the same time, it's like, well, what about that, like, close to the line? Like, if you're drinking really, like, we drink really heavily, right? Well, what if you have just one person, like, small female, so obviously they can't really hold their liquor, and they just throw back 30 shots.
It's like
and
me.
then it's like, well, is that self-harm? Or what, people, wearing short shorts with no underwear, and then, like, a bra. Like, obviously you can't, Twitch, I think, actually has a rule of, like, no
Well, like,
underwear and
how deep do you
no...
want to
It's-
get though?
it's-
Then 'Cause
it's
I feel
no-
like
But,
so
I mean,
that-
you
But I mean,
can't
that's
show
the rule,
torso.
right?
You can't show like lower torso. You can't show stomach, and you can't show underwear, with the exception of like if you have a shirt that's got the spaghetti straps and you see a bra strap going over the short, that doesn't count. But no bra, no underwear. But also I think the thing with this stuff is like it has to come. It's kind of like EVE Online with the inappropriate names. A specific one needs to come to their attention and make a big enough stink that they do something about it, I would assume. Because if you look at my channel emote, because one of the things is like your channel emotes can't display sex or things like this or drugs, and I'm like, alcohol is technically a drug, and my emote is me saying, drink this bottle. So my emote is, but it got approved by Twitch, so it's fine. But also, if you look at their own emotes, the Kriegasm emote, it's literally an O face, and it's named Kriegasm. It's their global
fucking
emotes.
Automod
It's
is
a
driving me
sexual
crazy.
orientated emote, and it's one they put on themselves. So they're kind of hypocritical
Yeah.
on all of it.
And so, like, I don't know if you guys, obviously, clearly people don't give a shit about, like, Twitch and the Twitterverse and partners doing bullshit, but, like, that's just now surfacing, and, like, I see it because I follow other streamers, mostly EVE streamers, sometimes various other streamers are members of, like, Twitch or, like, CCP or whatever. I'm seeing this stuff retweeted of, like, no, let women wear what they want, but are they really following the rules of Twitch? And is somebody speaking out against that actually breaking terms of service? Are they misogynistic? Stuff like that. And that's like the whole discussion around it. And to me, I'm like, wow, finally people are noticing Twitch doesn't consistently enforce rules. What a fucking shocker.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, most of their rules are not, they are not so incredibly specific, and there are gray areas. And it's just like, when people sit there and bitch about, EVE not enforcing its EULA and things like that, right? Not everything fits neatly into,
Well, they
into the
have
box.
very clear rules that people have broken, right?
Certain
like,
ones, yeah.
Like, so obviously females can't show breasts, so they made a rule of men can't go topless. I've seen
Yep.
EVE
That's
streamers
a
like
fairly
within the last
recent
month
rule.
without wearing a shirt.
Yes.
No, that's been in the past 2 years. But
Right,
I've
right,
seen an
that's
EVE
what- well, I
streamer
mean,
within
like,
the
fairly
past
recent.
month or week or whatever not wearing a shirt. And granted, I didn't report him. I didn't give a shit. But like, was he banned? Probably not. Were people reporting him? I don't know.
Yeah,
But like,
that's
where
the thing.
does
If
the
it
line
doesn't get
go?
reported, it doesn't come to their attention unless it's like a big stream that a staff person is in there watching. Like someone's streaming with like 20 people watching. Unless someone reports it, whatever they do on that channel is not really going to come to Twitch's attention. They can't enforce it there. But
I don't know why ass crack's a problem. If cleavage isn't a problem, then ass crack shouldn't be a problem. We all know it's either nipples or butthole. Those are the two things.
yeah.
If you didn't show butthole, it was just cleavage.
All right, we're gonna do shots. Nice shot.
Oh my
clocks there,
God.
Blastum. All right, shots.
Shots.
Yeah, I'm going slow on the freaking shots tonight. I wasn't even going to be here tonight. I got to again tomorrow take my daughter to another college visit, so I got to be up fucking early. But I wanted to come on tonight and talk about a couple things because obviously some shit happened this week that bears follow up on from last week. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we are joined tonight also by Jin Tan, who you have Yin Tan, whatever, Jin Tan for Americans. Who you have heard, but we've also got Sothrasil here from the Goons and one of the people behind the Anger Games, which we will get to in a second. And man, this auto mod with messages being held for review is annoying the living hell out of me.
It's
But-
holding yours messages for review. It's not annoying holding mine.
It's not? You're not? Well, because you're
It's holding mine.
I don't see it hold mine.
Well, you might not see it.
Do you
hold
see me type
anything
test?
because you're not a mod.
Oh, you're seeing it. Okay.
Yeah,
You're a mod. Oh, I thought you meant like you were just a regular poster and you're posting something and it holds it for 30 seconds for review type shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, yeah, you're not seeing. I'm seeing the actual moderate thing. Anyway, Soth, thanks for being here. We're gonna get to that topic in a little bit, but I know it's late for you, so we'll try and zoom to that point.
Oh, good evening, everybody.
And just so everybody knows, if you're listening into the after show but normally catch us live or something like that, last week was daylight savings time here in the U.S. Here we do not change our actual U.S. time. I'm not going to 8 p.m. at night for this, so it's always going to be 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific. We just so it means that we change relative to UTC/Eve time.
Yeah.
So before we were 0100, now we're 0200.
Well, the nice thing is that it's an hour later UTC, so it wouldn't be people coming into the show halfway through it going, "Oh shit, they're getting here an hour early," going, "What the fuck? Where is it?" So could be worse.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't know, Drayden. I'm looking at your well endowed show notes here.
Aren't they beautiful? they're like, this is what happens when you give me the reins of like making a bulleted list. It's got 4 bullets on it.
The new launcher. Hey, the new launcher, or the launcher. I don't want to call it the new launcher. I mean, the launcher was updated, right? I mean, was there anything about the launcher visually that changed? I think
it's all
It seemed to
back-end
be like
stuff.
all back end stuff.
Yeah, it's all back end stuff. It's supposed to make it a little more streamlined, easier. Like they did. I don't know exactly what they did, but they did something. They called it compartmentalizing.
I think it's easier for them. Yeah, I think it's easier for them to change elements of it now than it was before.
So it's compartmentalized. They can also, the logs they get from things are better and more concise to where they know exactly what needs to be fixed if there's problems or something like that.
But of course, the big bitch and moan about it was the fact that it basically erased all of your
previous accounts. You had to relog. Although I don't even think that was the biggest gripe.
You had to relog in all of your accounts and put in the passwords and all that kind of stuff again.
Although I don't think that was the biggest gripe. That was like kind of like the gripe from more people. But I think the biggest gripe was, because I saw Grath kind of rage tweeting about this a little bit, and some other people, is that some people, it just wiped all their overviews out.
Well, it would wipe your overview unless you then went in and selected. Well,
Man, if only they'd put out a dev blog about this, which they
Yeah,
did.
supposedly there was a cog where you could go and like reset all your
Avalon.
overviews back, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well-
if Avalon
well,
was
yeah.
in chat, which I haven't seen him yet tonight, but he's the one who is the dev for the launcher. He works on that team, so I know he put a Reddit post out and tried to help out a few people.
yeah, I just saw the.
So I mean, once you selected your profile for that,
It was supposed to
it should
insert
have
all
put
your
it back
stuff
in.
back
Are
in.
they saying it didn't do that?
But there was okay, so a lot of people logged in,
Did for
saw
me.
their overviews were gone. They're like, "What the fuck?" And then they got
Because they
thing
logged
from,
in without selecting.
You know,
that.
where there was like Karker was helping some people, and so some other cities people were like, Avalon I saw making supposed like do this. So you should be able to choose like the cog wheel, go to settings, import your overview or your profile, and then it should put all your overviews back. But there were some people that did that.
I
and
didn't even have to
didn't.
import.
I didn't either.
I
Most people didn't, but some people had to. But there were some people that after they imported their profiles, the overviews still weren't there. So they actually had to go into their folder, like app data and like blah, 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 all the way down into like the back end of like the Eve folders, find their overview settings and manually import them into the game. There's a few people that had to do that, which they did not like.
okay.
Yeah. So some
I-
people had to do some extra clicking and typing.
Yeah. I mean, look, this was basically a replacement launcher for the last one, so it's understandable. Now, hopefully, going forward, they will be able to change elements of this without that again, and have to go through that entire process, right? Unless they mess with that, with that section that deals with the account logins and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. We've had it before. We'll probably have it again. Whatever. Freelancer saying his overviews are gone permanently. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Just gone. Well,
I don't know. I don't know. what to say.
Like, because I know that I've had a few times where I lost my reviews, and I know that it's like I could probably find some profile or something, and just it's like, you know what? Fuck
I mean, with stuff like
my overviews are not that
there's a lot
involved.
of them out there.
I just like, you know
Really
what? I'll just
good.
set it up again. I know how it's. I only use like 3 different ones, and I'll just set them up. It takes me like a few minutes.
This is where I don't understand, though. Okay, you know, it's like I don't understand why that happens to some people, but not most, kind of a thing. You know, this wasn't where it just deleted everybody's profiles or something like that. I mean, those profiles, if they still existed for me, one would have thought that they should have existed for everybody out there. And the opposite of that being, why did they somehow or another get deleted for just a few people, sort of a thing? I mean, I guess I just don't understand how that happens.
I may
don't
be
know either.
slightly kind of autistic about it, but I back up all my settings to a backup folder every day. All my settings are backed up every day. So luckily enough, I saw all the crap that was happening beforehand, so I was able to fix and like know what people were doing to fix it. So I didn't lose anything. I was cool. But you know, people on EU, as soon as they log back in, they're like, oh shit, I lost all my accounts. I got to log in all my accounts now. So I understand the frustration, but yeah, it is kind of random and what people see and what people happen. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, I'm just looking at some stuff. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with using an overview pack or anything like that, because an overview pack is just a quick way of being able to set your overview, right? But then it gets saved to the profile that is within the launcher, and that is the thing that supposedly got fucked up for people out there.
I
for
don't
some
like
people out
using
there.
the packs because like I like knowing exactly how my overviews are set up. I don't want to just trust in a, you know, template that someone else came up with and be like, well, I hope they know exactly what I wanted for my overview. And just go with it.
So you theory craft your own ships as well?
I don't. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I kind of. What was that old guy back in PNG that was just like, I just go to a station and just buy what's available and slap it on my ship, and that's what I can fly. I like doing that actually. Sometimes it's pretty fun. It's like, this is a shield ship, but there's really no shield things here, so I guess I'm going armor with missiles on a laser boat. Sounds good to me.
But
Sacrilege.
Yeah, okay, so that's the launcher. Next topic up, we've got, and this will just be a real quick one, just an announcement that tomorrow is Veterans Day in the U.S. I believe it's also Remembrance Day in other countries. I know that's one of the reasons why Jeremy is not here tonight, because in Canada tomorrow is Remembrance Day, and he's going to a ceremony in Ottawa tomorrow.
Ottawa.
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 And so yeah,
Ottawa, eh?
but the Best of Us organization, that's Jay McLean's veterans group, is doing a Veterans Day roam tomorrow, and that begins at
2000 Eve on
2000.
which I believe is 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, if I did my math right.
yeah, 20. Yeah,
No,
Oh, you just ported it on your keyboard.
not my new. I just bought a new keyboard because I fucked
You
my
just
last
bought
one
a
up
new
last
one.
week.
Drayden.
I was watching the screen but kept pouring, and that's the first mistake I made.
Drayden, so switch your
Not
push
even
to talk
drunk
to a
yet.
mouse button, and then unplug your keyboard and go flip it
My
upside
push
down
to
so
talk
the
is
water
always
can
on a
drink.
mouse button. That's the only thing I use. my
Okay,
thumb
well then
buttons
go
for.
fix it.
No, that's good.
Oh.
That's all right.
We got a new
You
subscriber,
don't need an
Port
F5
66.
key.
Thank you.
but
Port
anyway,
66 just subscribed. Thank you.
it's like dying. It's like dying in silence. You know what I mean? It's like,
Die
jeez,
quietly.
Fix your keyboard in silence.
Sorry. Die quietly.
Yeah, so tomorrow at 2000 Eve time, it will be starting in the system of Berta, which is in the region of Derelict.
That's Amatar
Derelict.
space.
And they will be giving out Feroxes and Ospreys. If you can't fly a Ferox or an Osprey, feel free to bring your own ship. Feel free to bring feel free to bring an E-War frig or something like that if you want to kind of be useful. But yeah, they're going to roll around.
Wait, where are they
they had
starting
a-
from?
The FC is going to be headliner.
Berta. It's in
Headliner hit from
headliner. It's,
Pandemic Legion.
Berta is it's in Derelict. It's a
Oh, people should
0.5
drop caps on them. I bet it'll be really fun.
yeah. Well, I think
Oh,
Jeff Rader said he's going to
shade.
stream it live with no delay. So I mean,
Triggered.
and they even put the doctrine out like in a paste bin on the article. So it's going to be a Ferox fleet, but I'm sure you can bring anything that you want if you don't care.
For the link,
Oh yeah. I'll
Yeah.
get the link.
There's a link in
There it
there. Yeah, I threw it in there. I threw whatever that is. It's a Reddit post. Anyways, yeah, I mean there are some fits in the link. Let's see. Join the in-game channel, the best of us, and X up to be added to the fleet when it goes up. Bring your own ship if you cannot fly a Ferox or Osprey. So yeah. No, I am not drinking Heineken. I never drink that swill. I drink Yingling Lager, America's oldest brewery.
So I want to do a shot for the veterans out there. If we got veterans in the chat, thank you for your
I'll do a shot
continued
for that.
service. And wonderful thing, I actually do my side volunteer job is being a public address announcer. So last night I did a tribute to the veterans in our audience, in our fans last night. So, but anyway, I want to do a shot for the veterans. Thank you for your service for our country, USA.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, not just veterans for the U.S., but
Ooh, it's almost like too early for Fireball.
that was too early. Yeah, all veterans, any war that you served, British, Irish, German.
I haven't killed
veterans.
my.
You
I
guys
haven't
did an
killed
amazing
my
sacrifice.
flavor, my taste buds enough to be knocking at the Fireball.
Yeah, that was a little early for that.
It's just so sentimenty. Jesus.
It's Fireball,
Anyways.
Dirk.
I'm all out of. No, I know it's not like I don't know what I'm fucking drinking. Yeah, no, I'm just all out of Tito's, and I wasn't. I knew if I went and bought some today that I would end up doing more than I wanted to tonight. So it was like I didn't even buy it. It's like fuck it.
So I was now Pearl's gonna kill me for this. I was in Portland this last weekend. A buddy of mine from New York was over there. He's in a Broadway play thing, but so we were out at the bar. We went to a whiskey bar afterwards, which I fucking hate whiskey, but went there anyway. And apparently the new thing, like, you know, like Fireball and Jaeger was like the, you know, kind of college drink from before. Well, apparently this new
No, what the hell you're talking about? It was the cinnamon drink of choice.
Goldschlager
when I
was the
in college,
baby
was
boomer
Goldschlager.
one. Then the, you know, back
The
like
millennial.
then like Gen X or like, you know, early millennial thing, it was like Fireball and Jaeger. Apparently the new thing that kids are starting to do now is
What are the kids these days doing?
yeah, the kids these days, it's called pickleback shots, and it's fucking disgusting. It's a shot of whiskey chased with a shot of pickle juice. And apparently it's like
Okay.
it's like the thing
Like
that everyone's doing now.
chaser, pickle juices chaser
Are they also
is
drinking
nothing
Pabst
new.
Blue Ribbon?
That's nothing new.
That's
I think
disgusting. Pickles are fucking
the
gross
weird
on their
one-
own. Why would you drink the juice from it?
I love pickles.
Oh, they're gross.
Wait, the weird one though is doing
they're
vodka shots in your eyeball.
Satan's vegetable.
No, that's pretty normal as well. Like people
What,
have been
the
taking
vodka-
alcohol through their
vodka
eyes
eyeball
for
shots?
years,
What?
for like
Pi-
forever. Yeah, people
picklebacks
have
are not
alcohol in their
new.
eyes forever.
Yeah, picklebacks
That's
are not
just
new, but
weird.
I don't even know that they
It's
were
the
called
fastest.
picklebacks
It's the fastest
back
way
then,
to. It's the fastest way to get to high density like blood capillaries in your eyes. So
I
you're
would never-
absorbing
I would
alcohol
never
more
do that.
efficiently than you would in like your gut.
Michelle Penny, no, this is not a drinking contest between the four of us.
It's a drinking contest between us and you.
Exactly. Yeah, you have been chosen, Penny. That
Challenge.
you were the
Congratulations.
one that we are competing against. But no, drinks just sort of happen on this show.
Yeah, we just drink while we talk.
Yeah, I might.
And if
I
anybody
might
happens
put the
to
camera
throw
on in a
money
minute.
at
You
us,
guys can
well,
watch me
yeah.
smoke out of a pipe, which is what I got from Amsterdam.
Oh my God, gin! Last night
Yeah.
I happened to be I was cooking dinner and the wife had Jeopardy on at the time, and they had a category on manga, and I think I got one answer right, and everybody in the room is like, oh, I don't understand these questions, and I'm like it's about Japanese anime, and they're like animation, and I'm like man, well yeah, it's animation, yeah, but you know it's like it's this
It's
whole
got big
thing.
fucking
Manga
titties.
is this like, you know, part
Manga?
of anime, whatever, manga, whatever.
It's literally it's just
Potato fucking
it's just
potato.
like anime comic books. That's what manga is.
I'm like, but I do know these people that like
Anime-
would've-
anime
would've
is the
ran-
animated
would've
version.
ran this category.
The what?
He waifu'd the category.
Oh man.
No,
Oh wow.
I'm like, I do know people that would have ran this category.
If you go into an anime questionnaire and have no idea about
Fucking
anime, just say
weebs.
Death Note to every question. You'll probably get one right somewhere.
But
Probably
I don't know.
accurate.
Where
No,
are we
just
here?
say hentai.
You know,
No, that's
well,
a totally different contest.
we're gonna actually skip the monthly economic report for now. Look, the fucking TLDR was holy shit. A bunch of stuff happened down in Delve, but we'll come back to that in a second because I do want to get to what is basically an amendment to last week's conversation. I think a bit of it happened here where we talked a bit about the reorganization at CCP and how it affected the community team, and one of those people that affected was CCP Logibro. I think we did. I know there was some like arguing and shit like that towards the end, so I'm not sure how much of it we did. But we certainly did the next morning on Talking in Stations, where we had a fully in-depth conversation with CCP Falcon, and covered that as I think as in depth as we could have at the time, given just a few days' notice. One thing I do want to correct that I think I said here, but I know I said on Talking in Stations, was that Manifest had been offered a relocation possibility in Iceland, but was forced to decline it. So therefore, that's why he was leaving. I came to find out following that was not the case. That no offer like that was made in this particular case. So he was actually one of the cuts. So I just want to make that clear, retract my comment from last week, which was based on faulty information, and I was then corrected. But one of the things that kind of came out with that whole reorganization thing was how this was not going to have an impact on EVE Online. And what we found out in the ensuing days rather quickly was that it did have an effect on EVE Online. Most notably, the fact that apparently nobody there knows how to deal with Thunderdome.
Yeah.
That was CCP Logibro's kind of baby, and apparently nobody else babysat for that baby from time to time to get to know how baby worked. And what that has resulted in is the cancellation of this year's Anger Games. So that is one of the reasons why we've got Sother still here. It's actually one of the reasons why Jin is here as well. So why don't we just address that one specific issue? What exactly happened there, and how did it go down?
So,
You go ahead, Tom.
so the thing with Thunderdome is that Logipro actually used to put special server builds on the server to have like all the rule sets on it, so that we could use the tools that they also, that as far as I know they also use for the Alliance tournament, to like check all the fittings and pretty much everything around the participants if they're following the rules, right? And it makes running a tournament a lot easier. I would say it makes running a tournament this big even possible.
Yep.
With just a few people. And the problem here was that we didn't only have the Anger Games around this time, we're also having the EVE-NT tournaments running pretty much around us. So we had the first 2 weeks of EVE-NT, then we planned to have the Anger Games, and then in 2 weeks we have EVE-NT again. So
Was this a matter of Thunderdome was set up for whatever EVE-NT is doing right now,
Yes.
and then nobody knew how to change it and then be able to change it
So
Exactly.
Thunderdome is not set up with, I think, what you want for EVE-NT, as far as I know. I know Elise has to do a bunch of stuff on the back end, but like the rule sets I know for EVE-NT aren't right. Like we always tell people, the viewers at home, not to pay attention to the rules shown on screen, because I think they're based on whatever old rule set is going on. But other than that, I think, because that's what I think you wanted for Anger Games, right?
Yeah, the issue is that I changed up the rules for the Anger Games quite a lot compared to the AT, because we run with fewer people per team, and that resulted in some balancing we had to do. And on top of that, I wanted to mix it up a bit so that we have our own little thing going for our tournament.
Yeah, so they must, the current rules then must be set on the old AT rules then, because we don't have it set to ours. But ours are super simple. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, based on the ship class. So it's nothing super tedious that we couldn't do like on our own or whatever. Like it's very obvious when like ships are left on the field who wins and who loses.
Well, wasn't the problem that they couldn't use the referee tools to check if the fits of the ships that the teams brought in
Correct.
stacked up
Yeah.
with what the rule sets were, and so they'd have to individually manually check every single ship, which would cause too much of a delay between the matches, and so that's what Fozzie's problem was, and he was having trouble adding people to the server itself.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, the tool also like runs the fancy UI. So it also takes those rules and like shows the points that get awarded for killing ships, right? And we also changed the number values for ships as well. So if we would stream it with the fancy UI, it would be showing the wrong numbers for the teams if they would be killing ships.
Yeah, and that's where like even T I think is able to adapt because I mean, like I said, it's 1 through 5. It's nothing too fancy compared to like, you know, a Navy battlecruiser versus a normal battlecruiser or anything like that.
But I think the problem here is the fact that nobody else there knew how to make these adjustments, right? That this was sort of something that was put together, you know, and as with so many things at CCP over time, that, you know, a certain dev does something and it's really freaking cool, but nobody, like, the knowledge sort of isn't passed on, you know, to where, you know, to the organization, you know, appropriately, so that that person becomes a key man risk in a way, right? You know, that,
Key person
You'd think
risk.
that they would have them make like show note or not show
I would
notes,
say a key person
like a-
risk, but
I mean,
really, you know, there's
how-to.
nothing that women do that can't just be recreated. You know, I'm kidding. No, I'm totally fucking joking. You're right. A key person risk. Anyways, key individual, key employee risk. You know, yeah, and that's happened on a number of occasions. You know, with much deeper and more consequential code than this. But I think that this also, well, I'm going to say, I think that this also goes to the whole thing of you know, Logibro wasn't just a community team member, right? You know, apparently he had his hands in some things that you know, were consequential in some other ways as well, and that may have been one of the reasons why they should have, like, you know, used half a fucking brain and realized that you know, maybe they shouldn't have let him go until they had sucked his brain dry.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
the
here-
other.
Go ahead.
Go on. Oh, okay. But no, I know the other thing too was that I think not Thunderdome itself, but the tool, the referee tool, was made by a dev in his free time, and then it was passed on to Logibro when that dev left. I forget his name. So Logibro had to learn it, and if anyone knows Logibro, he's self-admitted he's not a coder, so he has to like try to learn and teach himself and adapt. And so just recently, this past year, he had been pushing and pushing and pushing to get Thunderdome built. And so we finally all got Thunderdome, and so he's been trying to run that. And I know even when we were all talking with Fozzie, I think it was like on Slack and Discord, like Fozzie waited till he was done with his day job and then tried to help with Thunderdome because he, you know, his priorities don't lie with Thunderdome. Like that's not what he's getting paid for. It's all volunteer work, and I think that's the same with Logibro. Like I don't think Logibro is using his actually hourly paid whatever the hell like work time. He had to do it all in his free time on the weekends, etc.
Yeah, it said he was giving up his Sundays. Man, I wouldn't give up my Sundays. Nope.
Yeah, and in fact, you know, the day after that this sort of, you know, broke out there, Fozzie was talking in Station's Discord and yeah, you know, made some comments in there. I mean, nothing derogatory, you know, totally understanding, you know, why people were reacting kind of the way that they were, you know, but also recognizing that I think it was quite clear that they are not necessarily happy with the way some of this stuff has gone down, and the fact that you know, it's created more shit in some ways, I guess, volunteer time load on the employees. That if the employees want to actually make this stuff continue to happen, they you know they may have to, like, you know, be volunteering some time or shifting some real work time, you know, to be able to deal with some of this stuff. So that's kind of where, you know, it becomes an issue for, you know, for the company that yeah, were you, yeah, well, I didn't want to say it, yeah, fuck it, they were just too goddamn short-sighted about some of this stuff.
And
But-
tangentially, I think when you talk about volunteer work, it's just not, let's say, CCP employees that are doing their volunteer work to kind of pick up the slack for the outliers, that the community team had, like support for near and dear to me of, events, Eve Vegas, FanFest, and other player meetups. That's where a lot of that, and I said this in our own private Discord, I think some of the volunteer works that are outside of CCP could have been a product of their own being too good, especially like for Vegas, because you saw what happened as how much effort that we put in for 60, 70 hours for that whole weekend of button making and making sure people were in the right spot and answering questions in Discord and being a part of that. I think the adverse effect, CCP Ruffiage, who was one of my really, really good friends, he was cut. He was done. That was it. He was in the shakeout. And maybe a lot of this is kind of on that same process where the other parts of the community where Logibro was so good as he did, but he did rely on other people to help him out with, EVNT, where that group was phenomenal in that job that they did, right? They were excellent broadcasters, but the side effect was Logibro made that happen on the server side. Who's going to volunteer on the server side to make that happen? And no shade against Fozzie, it's not his realm at this point. He can probably pick it up and do what he can. There's just no time for him to do outside of his normal work hours. And shit, I believe they're probably working 60, 65 hours already, to give up a day to, take care of something like that. It's really difficult. So I'm pissed in the overall umbrella of that. A lot of people lost their jobs, but I think a lot of the volunteers are going to be called upon to pick up the slack.
So I'm inclined to agree with you, but I also think there's a line that has to be drawn too. And like, I can speak from my experiences with like the Alliance
Are you going to
tournament,
draw
right?
the line?
I will draw. Do you want me to physically get some paper and draw you a line?
I'm just wondering if you're going to draw a line.
But no, so I mean, so think for example of like the Alliance tournament, right? Like it's a massive event. Players put like hundreds upon hundreds of hours like collectively, to practice. It's this big thing that pulls in massive Twitch numbers, et cetera, et cetera. The thing is no matter how good EVNT does, they don't pull the same viewership that CCP does. One, because it's CCP. Two, because you have CCP devs. And then there's a third thing of, are you really going, so like you're talking about like trusting the volunteers, which makes total sense. But are you going to trust the volunteers with something like, are they going to design the prize ships? Are they going to be responsible for handing out skins? Even you as as a volunteer at Vegas, like you may, like I'm assuming did you guys hand out those skin code packs?
Yeah. Yep.
So that was for like 3 ship skins or et cetera, right? But would it be something along the lines of, if they had something like the AT where it's like those victory ship skins that are billions and billions of ISK? Do you think CCP is going to hand those codes over to you and be like, make sure every player gets these, good job, and say, like, I trust you, Blossom. Like, CCP knows they can trust you guys, but are we as players going to say, okay, CCP is giving this handful of players, this group, cards to hand out, who's saying that they're not doing this? So it creates that perception of, like, players being able to get an advantage. And that's where CCP can't really give it to the players. So, like, with the Alliance tournament, when we were all, like, doing the Alliance tournament stuff with EVNT, we were under, like, strict NDA. If there was any fuck-up, like, my yacht blowing up was, like, probably the bare minimum I could have fucked up without, like, being permabanned from the game. If I had, like, shot anyone with that yacht, if I had, like, used the referee tool, the fancy UI in any way, shape, or form, because, like, you can see stuff with it, right? Like, I could have screenshotted that or did something with it, right? And so if anything like that ever would have happened, CCP would have cut tournaments free from players, never would have trusted them ever again. So the fact that there's like already a line there with how much CCP has put into it, or how much like CCP team, community team before they all got cut was there, they're not going to like change that, right? So CCP already admitted, like, whatever happens with the Alliance tournament, they're always going to be running the referee tool. They're always going to be the one checking the fits, checking the cargo, et cetera, et cetera. And so they're never going to leave that to us players, no matter how trustworthy we are, no matter if we're CSM, no matter if we're under NDA, no matter if we're there in their offices. Like, they wouldn't, like, as much as I was under an NDA, but they wouldn't leave me to, like, just stream in their office on my own or whatever, right? It's stuff like that. Like,
I wouldn't let you in my office alone.
Okay,
But that's
okay.
but that's like considering that that they will actually like keep running the AT, because they did say that they're gonna get together and decide which project they will keep running. So that means that the AT might not be a thing anymore.
Agreed. Yeah, and that's the other big concern is, you know, like if the players, whether they can pick up the slack or not, if there's that perceived misconception that the players could potentially be using whatever it may be to their advantage, whether it's, you know, skin giveaways for, you know, live events, or, you know, something with the Alliance tournament in like some whatever shape or form or anything like that, then it's just going to turn into like another like disaster of like, you know, CCP T20, where players were clearly using CCP for an advantage, and it just destroys the image of the company in the game.
Yeah, I agree that there's got to be some control factor. And at this point, I honestly know that between Falcon and Guard and whoever Manifestus handing over the realm, you know, to, they have to have the oversight. Yeah, CCP is going to have the oversight, but the volunteer work absolutely will increase, because they have to hand it off to somebody to say, can you do these outlier projects that are, you know, outside the control of, you know, of things, of getting people together and making things work the way, you know, the community has in the past, but we have a little bit more reliance on you guys. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, Rain actually brings something up there, and sometimes I really do kind of question this. She says tourneys are a huge retention tool. I think you need to give me the definition of huge, and you know, in your terms, and whether or not we know whether or not their statistics kind of bear that out. I mean, I know that it is a retention tool for a certain group. The question is it a retention tool during those times of years for the tourneys? Is it an all-year thing? I mean, do they do other things as well, but like they really stay because of their involvement in tourneys? And exactly how big of a number is that? I can tell you right now, it's not huge. It just can't be. It can't physically be huge in this game.
The thing is, compared to the percentage of overall subscribers, the amount of people who would probably quit is fairly low. But the thing you've got to understand is that they make up a disproportionately large number of the people who will log in on a day-to-day basis and interact with Eve on some basis. You know, these are the people who are your content creators. They're driving other people to log on. You know, the game is only as fun as people inside the game make it. And to a degree, having those kind of super invested, like, there should be some word that goes beyond, like, I don't know, facilitating players. The people who you need in your game, in your community, to actually provide the stuff that makes Eve worth playing. If you lose enough of those, you know, this game's not going to be worth playing. And that's something.
You can expand that outwards to, you know, just, you know, kind of the community itself, and we know that the more that people are engaged with kind of the community, being in Twitch channels like this and chatting with each other in Discord and things like that, the connections that they make within the game ends up causing them to stay beyond maybe a sell by date that they would have had otherwise.
So
and there they are slashing the community team and the engagement with the community.
So my question is what's the biggest broadcast CCP has pulled when doing something like eVegas, FanFest, or the 07 show? How much viewership did they have?
I don't know what they
Vastly
get for
lower than AT.
I don't know what they get for Vegas, 'cause I'm usually there.
AT finals pulled 10,000 people active on their viewership.
AT finals is probably the highest. Well,
also,
yeah,
you also have
some
some single AT matches can lose more ISK than big battles in Eve. So if you think Asakai was dwarfed, I think, by AT12 or 13 based on ISK lost. And that wasn't like all of AT12 or all of AT13. That was either one day or one single match with how much was lost.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have the AT ships in there, and then, like, you know, if there's a flagship that's like 30 or 40 billion or something like that, it could do that.
Yeah. What I think one of the problems, though, is that the community team is so huge. Cutting it down this much leaves a really big gap in kind of our understanding of what Eve's community team is going to be like. You know, we've had a lot of conversations with CCP right about now. You know, talking and discussing with them about what the community team's going to be doing in, you know, with this reduced personnel, and they're not entirely sure what even, I think, all of their business critical roles as a part of the company are, just because they've had so much like taken away from them in terms of resources. It does feel like they're in a very bad position right now.
I mean, one thing I do, you know, and I'm more than happy to have this go on, you know, regarding the reorganization, have reorganization part 2 this week, because again, I think we've kind of fucked it up here a little bit last week, but I want to circle back specifically to the anger game, since Soph is here, and since it's, you know, even later where he is and where it is with Eugen, you know, and that is, what is the future from your understanding of the anger games? Are we just in a postponement? Might the anger games be back in a couple of months, or are we going to circle around again and it'll be a year from now?
Well, for us it's pretty easy. The anger games is pretty much run by me to like 90%, and then there's a few people helping, but all in all we're a team of like less than 10 people, and we need the tools of Thunderdome to run our tournament. Without those tools, we can't handle it. So if Thunderdome is gonna stay a thing, and if they actually find someone to handle that, we will be back. Otherwise, we won't.
Okay, so well, I mean, if a month from now they came and said, okay, we've got our understanding of Thunderdome, we can do, you know, are we prepared to have the anger games in, you know, in 3 months or 4 months, or you know, would it just be a, you know what, anger games for this year is done, we'll circle back again next year?
Well, the earliest we could probably run again would be February or March. Because
okay, so that, I mean, that would be an option, right? I mean, it's
that
not just...
that would totally be an option. And I mean,
okay,
most of the teams already said that if we try again, they will be back.
How many teams did you have lined up for this particular event?
30.
It was 20, wasn't it?
One team pulled out at last minute, so it was 18.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of people.
That's
like,
a
if
lot
you
of
think about
people.
it, that's 20 times 7 minimum. If they're like a very serious team, they're gonna have a B team as well to practice with. That gives you, like, you know, you could round that up pretty easily to, you know, 160, 170. How many accounts did those people have? Probably more than one. Like, that's
And
a
there-
lot of
and there
people.
were
That's a lot of
definitely teams out
players
there.
you've just pissed off.
I mean, there, you know, look, you know, and there were definitely people out there, you know, who take the anger game seriously, and they said, you know, they literally they could be in any tournament whatsoever, and they would take it incredibly seriously because that's just how they play tournament style stuff. As far as I'm concerned, the team that I was on, we once again, you know, we claimed victory this year. We certainly claimed victory over Asher because we know that Asher's team put in actual training time and stuff like that, which Team All Stars does not do. So therefore, you know, we didn't lose anything other than you know, the desire to actually be in it. You know, whereas other teams actually had, you know, been putting in effort to, like, you know, have practices and shit like that. So I don't know. Rip all that time from those players who were who were trying to kind of make a big thing out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good meeting with CCP.
Really good?
Just-
really good?
yeah.
Like how they're gonna fix this, or like really
No,
good as
just
in
like
it's
really
just
good
always
as
really
in-
good?
A really good as in, like, we talked about a lot of stuff and our questions weren't entirely dodged, but probably nothing coming right away. Kind of good meeting with CCP today that lasted for like an entire hour because we just had so much to go through. I
Are
think.
these those weekly meetings that like half the team
Yeah.
doesn't attend? Okay.
Well, it was basically us and 1/5 of the community team in guard. It sounds much more impressive when you say it like that. But yeah. I'm not getting a good feeling though right now. I feel like we're heading towards the same kind of community consensus that we had in spring. You know, when people were getting kind of mad. There was all this bad news coming out. People didn't know what was going to happen in the game. People didn't feel like the game was growing. Even though it is, like, the actual numbers are pretty good, but people didn't feel like it was growing in the way they wanted to.
That's not why the late spring of mild discontent was what it was. The late spring of mild discontent was over little things being taken away from them due to changes like that.
I don't think it was people being taken away. It was just things they didn't want. Things that
like nerfing their Rorqual again and nerfing carrier ratting and things like that. That was really the lead up to it.
Cause. That was not.
Those were the proximate causes. There were underlying. And I don't want to rehash that whole thing, but this was not Summer of Rage again.
The problem was that it built up into the main problem, which was that all of the balance coming out of CCP was just like, oh, this is a railway problem. Fix that. There was never any positive kind of input from the balancing team. Beyond that, there was a bunch of other problems in the community.
Yes.
There was like some random drama in CCP around, I don't know, something a dev had said. I'll be honest, I'm really stoned right now, so I can't remember too much.
No, there was the CCP quant thing out on Reddit, and people picked at the wording of that and shit like that. But again, that came down to carrier ratting, so, again, it came down to things that were being taken away. But there was an underlying dissatisfaction that had been brewing out there for some time related to how long the whole structures thing was taking, related to FozzieSov, related to a number of underlying issues, but it was proximate causes like carrier ratting and nerfs to Rorquals and things like that that really got people all lit up. And then Ghost Training and Pacifier Gate.
Yeah, like there was basically just two straws that basically broke the camel's back. I think Pacifier Gate was just at that point. It was just like that was just fuel onto the fire. But
this year feels different. This year feels different because you've actually got more people.
It's this 6 months down the line. But
not this year. This year.
Have you been seeing what people have been like talking about in all of these chats, in all of these like? Every kind of place you see it, where you just see this kind of discontent always bubbling, it's getting more pointed, and more people are agreeing with it. More people are voting it. And this is what you see before these kind of drama bursts. You see people being like, "I bet CCP's gonna, sell themselves to EA," or, I think Hilmar or Seagull or Falcon are just killing this company. And that's the talk that comes up when people are just getting frustrated because they don't think the game's moving in a good direction.
That's because when you get something like that, okay, so you have the late spring of mild discontent, you basically have the summer go by, you had a bit of a reaction from CCP where it's like, we hear what it is you're saying, blah blah blah. We go into what I'll call the player meetup season, which would be the late summer, early fall. We have something like an EVE Vegas where everybody walks out of that going woot woot, okay? And then all of a sudden, less than 30 days later, you've got this reorganization announced. And that's what causes people to sit there and go, well, wait a second. When you actually have a CCP reorganization again, I'm going to say the same thing I did last week. Forget VR. That does not affect EVE Online. Okay, they can completely decapitate that entire side of the business, and it does not. It does not affect
that's a CCP,
EVE Online.
CCP side thing, not EVE Online specifically.
Correct. Okay. Now. The underlying issues that drive that, whether it be VR related or whether it be somehow financial related or whatever, calls into question some things. But here we have the actual outcropping of where it begins to hit into EVE Online. The bigger issue, and I don't think that we sat there and really hit on it, hard. I don't think that anybody has truly hit on it hard enough. I gotta be honest. Is this decimation of the community team? And once again, not because anybody has any emotional ties to individuals by name that ended up getting released, right? More the commitment to the community kind of thing. I think that there needs to probably be a bigger reaction to that out there. And I don't mean unsub and disapproval or anything like that, because one of the things we don't want to do is we don't necessarily want to right out of the gate cause some kind of domino effect on things. There is speculation that the unsubs that occurred immediately following the Summer of Rage somehow contributed to layoffs that occurred in October of that year, 2011. I don't think that necessarily needs to be it, but I think that there needs to be something that sends a clear fucking signal that the community is not happy with this shit. And you maybe stepped on the wrong third rail here, Hilmar, and need to do it. Marshall Malice
Real
says,
talk,
so
though,
how
that
mad
it-
are we supposed to get? Yeah, look, I'm not saying go kill somebody. I'm not saying chop hands off. I'm just saying there needs to be a way that we can express something, and I still haven't come up with what that might be yet.
I think we
I
should
don't
all
know what it
get
might
really
be.
drunk and yell at each other for the last half
Maybe
hour
we
of
should
the
go
show.
out. You know what?
Wait.
Next
No, we
Thursday
did
we're gonna
that
go out
already.
and
We need
scream at
some
the
original.
sky.
Yeah.
Like
think
in
that's happened
general,
already.
I'm just like super worried that
What if-
like 1 or 2 more mistakes can just put CCP into the exact same thing we were in 6 months ago, because it was just not fun. Like
What-
that was
but-
a bad time to play.
Okay, well, let's Jintan, let's look at the product though right now. I think the product that Eve Online, that product is the best it's ever been. Whether we lost the community team, okay, I'm playing I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm going BC on us. The product of Eve Online, the UI, we've always bitched how bad it is, how bad the game is, but technically, how strong the game is right now, it's incredible. There is nothing wrong with the game. There's incredible balance. There's incredible things that are happening inside the game. That's the best state it's ever been. Outside, yeah, I think we're in a bad state, but hell, inside, we have a great time.
Do you really believe that?
I honestly do.
I can, don't even get me started on that end. Like, just look at the dominance of Macarials, for example, which has been going on
Oh,
for
wow.
how long now?
Well,
Like-
about a year maybe. Like
But
it's
it's
not
not-
actually that
well,
long
it's
in
a year
in
that one
terms
ship
of
is out of
eras of
balance.
balance. That's actually really fucking short.
Bring
anymore.
back
How
the
long,
Avatar.
have
12
how long
months
were
is not
Ishtars
long.
out of balance? How long were other ships
probably-
out of balance? Harbingers.
Yes, but didn't they actually change how they deliver patches so that exactly that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, but
well,
you know
no,
what? We've
they-
been.
that was never about that. Like, what are you talking about? The Ishtar was the most dominant in the time where they'd gone to the 6-weekly release cycle. That has nothing to do with it. What you're talking about is the introduction of a live balance team, and the live balance team is one guy working at like maybe 20% time, in my estimation. So
Wait, the balance team is don't.
It's
like,
literally
wait,
just
Are you
Rise.
serious? The balance team is just one dude.
it's literally Rise right now. They're restructuring to try and get more people on it, but they've got like a million projects going on right now.
Okay, well,
I
Rise
figured
is really
that-
good though.
Well, I'm not saying he's bad.
Rise
I
is
figured
damn
that balance is something you'd have a team working on.
I thought
Yeah,
that was
in-
Team
in-
5-0
in
that was
most-
doing the balancing.
Because
No,
one
they're,
guy,
they're
like,
fucking
even,
co-
regardless
they're
of how
coding
good.
structures. They're literally right now what all the 5.0 is doing right now is restructuring the entire
I
Citadel
know. I'm
system
just saying, like, when it
so
comes
that
to
it can actually not be shit.
when it comes to balance, you might have whoever's doing the balance might be like the best guy as far as balance goes, but he's still like every single person out there has a bias or has a set opinion on one thing, which could you need other people to
think-
offset and then make them think about compromises to a mindset that they might have to like have
I think the
multiple
best way to
inputs.
put it is frame of reference, because Eve is very much a game where you understand it from how you know the game. Someone who only high-sec mines is going to understand the game with a different frame of reference than how I, as like a nullsec block FC, understand the game. And equally, like Fozzie, I don't know how much you know about Fozzie, but he was very, very involved in the Alliance tournament and still is to this day very involved in
Sure.
that. And that's part of how he conceptualizes the game and how he conceptualizes balance within the game, is that it is something analogous to the Alliance tournament. And if you look at all the features he's designed over the course of his time in CCP, the large majority of them do make a great deal of sense when you put them in the context of the Alliance tournament. That seems to be kind of where his philosophy of design comes from. Rise is very similar to that. He's a small gang player. Larrikin
Yep.
is very different to that.
How
He
is
was a-
Fozzie released
They're former
as
players.
AT?
They're former players.
Fozzysov is like, if you actually look at it from like as an AT player, and you look at the problem of Sov, I think that is an idea that makes sense if you want TQ to represent some elements of Alliance tournament gameplay. I genuinely do think that is an attempt to make what Dominion Sov was, which was a very unique and, I mean, not exactly great but very different gameplay towards that more 80s style.
Who's on freaking not push to talk? Anyways, because I can hear your keyboard.
Does that make sense?
I
By the
think
way?
it's sound activation.
Kinda. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not
whatever,
aligned
sound
with it, but I
activation.
see where you're coming from.
I want to go back here to a comment that Search the Sky made, and he said, he. I'm assuming you're a freaking he, unless you're the other 4%. Will the community ever be happy at everything CCP does? And my answer is no. The community, my answer was no. The community is the rabble. But look, they're never going to be happy about everything that CCP does. They're not even necessarily going to be happy. The difference with the community, okay, and the community are the people who are connected to things and are out there and willing to comment and be a part of it. All the other ones are kind of like the background, okay. They're a very big base because the community is small, okay. The player base is large in comparison, is enormous in comparison, but it's never going to be quite happy. It's just not going to be Pitchfork's unhappy, and that is kind of one of the differences here. And somebody mentioned something about FanFest. I think it was. I said FanFest seems too far away, but I think there should be look, if this is not resolved by FanFest to where they have gotten their shit in order and effectively recommitted to what I think is a big problem here with how they're engaging with the community with only basically 2 people. You know what? Fucking protest at FanFest while the press is there. While Hilmar's on goddamn stage, walk the fuck out. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I mean, that's about as good as you can do it, other than a whole goddamn bunch of people unsubbing, which only hurts the financials, which only hurts the game, which, there's got to be something that we can do. And when I say we, I just mean, the people that, are, listening or whatever, something that can be done to, like, actually, communicate to them, you done fucked up here.
So community is generally almost always Eve outside of Eve, right? Like, you do have communities within Eve, but it's mostly like Tweetfleet on Twitter. You have the Twitch page. You have this and that.
It's people who are engaged in more than just a logging in and kind of thing. They're reading and knowing and understanding about Eve as it kind of happens. Not just in the moment of being in the game and finding out that something happened because they weren't engaged. It could you could be somebody that just patrols the forums or Reddit or whatever, and you're part of that kind of larger community of people.
So what if we just stop doing that? Like, what if you just stop using #Tweetfleet or tweeting about Eve, or like us, we're streaming under Eve Online, but what if we streamed under gaming talk shows? Or you do stuff like that to show CCP you're so pissed that
doesn't have the reach.
Are you sure?
It doesn't have the reach, and it doesn't have the kind of obviousness about it, right? It's got to be something. Look, honestly, if I had a fucking email address for one of the freaking equity fund investors there, I'd fucking email them. It's got to be something that kind of catches attention without doing damage in the process.
Yeah, if you're sitting here and trying to organize another player riot, I'm like out right now. I would rather the community just calm the fuck down, because I'd rather we let CC follow through on what they've promised to be doing in Q1, and then go from there and decide if the game's in a good state from there. Because right now they've already bowed to a lot of what we've been telling them. They're getting there. They're slowly understanding it. It's gonna take time. But the pressure has already been applied. Don't rip the bandage off and start stabbing again, please.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was like there were a number of things that it was going after like literally this thing happened the other day. It was like I saw Fozzie's name being mentioned like negatively, and it's like, whoa, wait a second. Remember, this is not devs doing this to you. This is not individual call it line member CCP people that are doing this to you. Certainly don't take it out on fucking Falcon or Guard or or these people.
To give their perspective on things, I'm not saying that Falcon literally caused this or Fozzie literally caused this. They're saying that Fozzie's decisions or Falcon's decisions or Seagull's or Hilmar's decisions have put Eve in a situation financially where this was necessary. That's what they're saying. They're not saying that Fozzie literally fired people, because that's not true. I'm pretty sure no one's saying that, right?
No. Well, you mean the,
People-
you mean the
people
I,
saying
I don't
that
think
you-
I've
you
seen
buy
that. Has somebody
proxy-
said that?
No, but like that's what Dirk is implying that they said in the way
No,
he presents
what,
them.
wait,
No, no,
what?
no, no,
What?
no.
I think
It's
I think you're smoking pot or crack.
I
now.
think that I think you misconstrued that one.
Okay, my
No,
bad.
no. What I'm saying is, the other day I saw, like when a lot of this shit. Okay, so when this stuff went down, you had people out there going, "Fuck it, don't fire, Logi Bro, fire Fozzie," or shit like that. It's
But
like
that's-
none of
that's
this shit
horseshit.
should be blamed on employees of that company. Employees of that company have been detrimentally affected by this reorganization because more pressure is being put on them, whether it be developers of the game itself, okay, or whether it be those few remaining members of the community team. This is a higher level thing. Therefore, it needs to be a higher level sort of communication that comes from the players. And, and again, I don't want to sit there. I don't believe in unsubbing as a form of protest. Look, because here's the thing, right? If you were playing this game because you really liked fucking Logi Bro, and now you're upset because Logi Bro got got canned in this process. I don't know. Maybe you were playing the game for the wrong fucking reason. I don't play the game for the community team, right? I play the game because the game is good or it's not good. One of the two, right? Don't sit there and take this. But there needs to be something that says, CCP, you fucked up with this. Fix it. Don't just kind of ride it out, sort of a deal.
Literally, what do you think you're going to do right now? Do you think they're going to
Nothing. I can't necessarily figure out anything right now, and that's what I'm saying. I wish there was a way.
What does your grand protest do? All it does is make CCP more scared.
Well, they should be more scared of fucking up, right? They should be more scared. Once again,
I get the desire to put the fucking
community
terror
aspect,
into people, but
no, I don't want to put. I don't think it's a matter of putting terror into anybody. It's not. This is not go blow up the fucking monument. Nobody's fucking saying that, right? Okay. What I'm saying is that there are certain things, and I don't want to put too much on the community. There's too many people out there that want to put too much on the community.
Marsha, if you wanted this to stop this from being a repeat thing, then shouldn't you have protested the 2 other times this has happened previously in the same way? And specifically pointed
big
out
difference.
this
And
is
go,
a retarded
and
way.
go ahead
How?
and go ahead and name. Go
This
ahead and name
happens
what the
every major layoff.
Falcon
with
Yeah,
CCP.
but
said
there
that.
has-
Falcon
there's
said
been
this
protests
happens
every time.
every 3 years.
There's a
been
difference.
protests
There's
every
a
time.
difference between
Why
happening
now?
for years. Can you
We spent
tell me
like-
who the community team members that were released in 2014?
No, I can't.
Why?
I also,
Why can't you do that?
because I wasn't really playing the
Can-
game at this level.
Okay, so that if I asked you about the ones that were released in 2011 when the big layoffs happened, because you want to know what's really kind of funny is while there were people from the community team that were laid off, okay, in 2014 and in 2011, okay, nobody quite remembers because they've done much more with the community team in the last 3 years, okay. Their presence has gotten much bigger because their engagement with the community has gotten much bigger.
Aside from just,
But that's a
they
product
see you
of
at
what
FanFest,
happened.
it's
And,
branched out to all
I'll
this other
disagree there,
stuff.
Dirk. That's because what happened in 2011, 2014, the Summer of Rage, that had to happen because they were in a bad spot back then. That's where I'll disagree there. Because the community team that probably volunteered or who got brought in had to, quell the
biggest player uprising of any video game ever.
Exactly.
Honestly.
and
Like-
they had to. But Manifest was probably, that's when he really took the reins and fixed a lot of shit.
Yeah.
There's been a lot that's gone on community wise in the last 3 years that has been a complete step up from where it was. So even though look, CCP was a bloated entity in 2011 when they had a bunch of layoffs that happened there. Okay, this time around, everybody can sit there and they can throw up the number 100 and how it was, X% of the company, a third, or 25%, or wherever the hell it was of the company or whatever. But the huge proportion of that, number one, they're not laid off. Okay, those people are still, a bunch of those people are still working at Newcastle or whatever. They're going to be affected. There's a difference between affected by this whole reorganization and the ones that were laid off. There are certain specific ones that were laid off immediately, and a lot of them were in Reykjavik. Other ones like Manifest are there until until sometime or whatever, shortly. But those ones that are part of Newcastle and whatnot, that will happen when they actually find resolution, I guess, with that whole Newcastle unit, or whatnot. But the reason why that this has become an issue regarding the community team here getting slashed down to 2 people is because of how much they have done in the last 3 years to improve engagement with the overall community, whether it be fan sites, whether it be podcasts and shows like this and other elements of the community out. They've done a lot more. It had gotten so much better, and it seemed like they were recognizing that engagement with some of your hardest core players who are engaged at like a third derivative level of this game is actually a good way of trying to maintain kind of the cohesiveness. And this right here betrays that.
Yeah, I understand the frustration with this, and like this isn't easy for even people within CCP. People are very worried about how they're going to be able to communicate with the player base, but I think they understand they'd rather cut people who their primary function within CCP is to ensure messaging is good. From their point of view, everything that the community team does outside of that is an ancillary function.
And don't get me wrong,
yeah.
I don't want to see a fucking headline tomorrow that says Dirk McGurk calls for fucking pitchforks and torches, because I don't agree with when the fucking rabble rises up and
you're literally
goes
trying to organize
Well, the thing is,
like
if
battling.
Come on, Jim, grab your pitchfork.
I think a targeted fucking walkout at FanFest, if this is not resolved by then, is not a fucking bad idea. Okay, but I know that nerds, nerds, don't necessarily do that, because what I don't want to see is I don't want to see hyperreaction. Oh, here, let me say this. I don't want to see hyper-reaction in places like Reddit.
I know.
I don't want to see certain manipulators in the community go out there and find their friends in the broader-based media to write negative stories about EVE Online that will go out there and taint potential players of the game, right? I want to see something that gets a message across, but without doing damage to the broader brand.
And you don't think a fucking player walkout at FanFest in front of Hilmar won't have an article written by
it might,
literally everyone.
But by that point, we're several months down the road of this.
Okay, yeah,
Wasn't
I get
there
that.
some posts that on Discord that I saw this week with people show up at the media center at FanFest and have tape over their mouths and some kind of really weird shit like that. I think that's too extreme, but there's got to be some sort of balance to.
Should we just kneel for the national anthem? Will that solve it as well?
Oh no!
God damn it!
Is that where we go with
into
this?
That?
I'll fucking
kneel
throw it out
during
there.
the
I'm
Eve
high enough.
Symphony or something.
So the thing with it though is
real talk, Dirk. No, I wouldn't level with Dirk here.
I'm not calling for self-immolation or anything here.
Well, I mean, it's regardless of whether people
check Discord, and B, what do you want for FanFest? What is let's take this into the abstract. What do you want CCP to have done? What are your milestones for success from CCP? Because this is something I'm very interested in. Is this something I could potentially, communicate with CCP? What are your milestones for what you see as the damage done now being fixed by FanFest? What can I work towards here?
Support for player tournaments, support for player events, support for just communicating with players, support to show that they actually give a fuck about the community. How about that? Because, I love Guard and I love Falcon, but if they're just going to pile on tons of shit on their plate, I don't want to see two dudes, struggle with their work-life balance just because CCP is too incompetent to hire and pay someone, $50,000 a year to, handle, a bunch of cats. Hurt a bunch of cats.
The one thing, though, is, regardless of whether the player base doesn't like the layoffs or not, regardless of whether they were legit or not, or sanctioned or not sanctioned, but merited or not, is it ever a good idea for a company to listen to outside sources on their employment regimen? That seems like something that's
I think
you got to look at it as
I want to say that I'm not disagreeing with what Dirk's saying here. I do believe CCP fucked up here. I think everyone agrees.
Well, I know.
With that.
I'm just saying.
I'm just trying to figure out a way that we can actually channel this rage in a way that isn't just gonna
That's what I'm.
CCP
That's what I'm trying to do.
noise. I know,
I'm
but-
trying to talk. I'm trying to talk reasonably here. I'm trying to talk reasonably about a way of being able to channel rage. Okay, that is out there, in a constructive manner. All right, that isn't some manipulative sort of thing, which I can see coming. I can feel it out there. I can feel it from certain entities out there. In order to get their writers writing and stuff like that, or or on Reddit trying to kind of gin up certain things, and I don't want it to necessarily go in that direction. I think that there's a way that you can do it. Look, I don't. There was a part of me that first thought, I don't know, like maybe Christmas cards to Hilmar or something like that, where but then I know that, but I know what would happen is a bunch of fucking Christmas cards would go there saying fuck Hilmar, and it's like, no, okay, that's not exactly what what was intended.
What if we send Christmas cards to all the devs that have been let go? And they sit there and they realize how much the people care
Well, that's
about
just
the
gonna-
people
that's
that
gonna
are
be-
no longer
where are we
there.
sending that
Balloons.
to? The North
So,
Pole?
hey,
Yeah,
look at this
No,
game
no,
you
you-
can't play anymore.
I'm just
Sorry,
saying,
can't
like,
be
something like that would be
vulnerable.
great. Like, all I was
Like
saying
it
was
would
like,
show. It would show how much an effect the community team had on the players. Though,
all I'm
right?
saying is like when you're a business and you're deciding on whether to keep people on, lay them off, whatever, that's an internal business decision, and I don't know
Yes, it
if
is.
you allow the player bases, or like it's like if you were
No.
like a company, like do you go to your customers and be like, should we keep this person hired, or like we're thinking about laying them on? Like
This is
that's
this is
something
not
like,
about.
it's
and
not
this
up
is
to the
not
players.
this
who
is
sees
not
who
about a
keeps on or
specific
not.
person.
I'm not
okay?
saying that I wanted those people fired. I love those people. I didn't like that they got fired. I'm just saying it's a business decision, and we don't have a say in that.
Hold on, and that is why on most occasions that you have heard of CCP making certain business decisions over the years, okay, my voice has been, guess what, motherfuckers? Sometimes business decisions have to get made, and sometimes those do not fucking feel good, okay? When they had to do the write-downs and everybody was screaming that Eve was fucking dying and all that kind of stuff, it's like, you know what, get your goddamn thinking caps on here and realize what's happening, all right? I'm not even sitting there and saying that they shouldn't cut VR. Oh my God, don't fucking kill these things, okay? I'm not even saying you shouldn't have fired Logibro or Manifest or Lilu or whatever. We're not talking about specific names here, right? We're talking about the fact that we need to be careful. If we are the community that has loved and enjoyed our engagement with the developer the way that we've had it, okay? Not necessarily them listening to us about every little thing, then we should be a bit more worked up about the fact of what appears to be happening here is they are slashing some of that commitment to the community. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I'm not sitting there saying that anybody needs to go fucking blow something up or scratch out names on a goddamn monument or look at Hilmar cross-eyed or anything like that. I'm just saying there should be a way, and I'm not smart enough right now to be able to come up with what that way technically is, to be able to communicate the message that maybe, just maybe, they cut back too much on that, and what that might mean for the future. The first element of that we have seen so far, okay, is this thing with the Anger Games, is this thing with Thunderdome. Okay, we'll see what happens in the ongoing future with whether or not Guard and Falcon can legitimately handle it enough, from the community aspect of things. Who knows? We might see other people rise up in there that that kind of take the reins, and all of this goes bye-bye just simply because we found a new normal.
Yeah. I can respect pretty much everything that's being said here. It's hard to
It's fine to be upset over it.
hear something like this when there's no productive thing that I think I or anyone can reasonably do out of this besides just feeding into the anger.
Right.
I can go there and I can
Regardless of
say,
what the player base does, it's not going to reverse any of these decisions.
yeah.
Who was
we-
your...
we already
It's
had
fine
a
to be upset about it.
conversation.
It's fine to
the
be mad
first
that these
thing out
people
of our
lost their
mouths-
jobs when they were doing a good job. It's just them's the breaks. When it comes down to it, I mean,
Well, we
What
may
do
have
you
thought
do
that they
about
were
it?
going to... we may have thought they were doing a good job.
Internally.
And once again, I'll go back to the statistics, just like I did before when Rain mentioned that, you know, a huge number. Okay, it's probably not a huge number, and it's one of the things that we need to think about regarding the EVE community. Okay, the EVE media and the community is that we're not as important as what we think we are. The community's not as big as what we think it is, and I'm going by my definition of the community, the people who are actually engaged with the stuff outside of EVE that keeps them kind of logging in and whatnot because of the social connections they've made and the other things that are going on around the video game itself, right? It's not as big as what people think it is. The reach of our words is not as big as what we would like to think it is. And maybe from maybe from a data points kind of standpoint with CCP, maybe they've got some data that shows them that, you know what, if we engage the community at a very deep level, it helps us this much, and if we engage it at a very shallow level, you know what, it really doesn't help us that much differently. They may have that kind of information.
Dirk, the issue is that it may not be a lot of people that are active in the community, right? But as Jintan already said, these are the guys that make more things happen. I think you called them facilitators, right?
Probably a better way of putting it would be like power users. They're the people who empower tons of other people to do work faster.
These are your alliance leaders. These are your FCs. These are your, like, there are so many names for these guys, but they are pretty much the people who keep the rest happy and engaged. They bring the quote-unquote content. I know goons hate that word, but come on, it's what it is, right? Once they fall away, once that 5% is gone, the other, let's say 85%, don't have anything to do anymore, because they rely on them. Because without these 5%, they don't have anything they can do in EVE, right?
Well, they have things they can do. It's just not the. But yes, you're absolutely right. Is that for time immemorial for EVE, right? The 5% have led the 95%. 95% of most people in this game are fucking sheep, and the other 5% are the fucking herders that get them to where they kind of want to go. I mean, that's oversimplifying it, because there are people out there that do things simply on their own. Or with a small enough group to where they don't necessarily need a leader, so to speak. But the vast majority of people that play this game are there to follow the efforts of other people. And luckily, we have always been blessed by a number of people in the game, not the people out of the game. We're all assholes out of the game, okay? But in the game, who are willing to put in the time and effort, to kind of facilitate what other people do in the game.
And isn't that trailer the one of the best trailers ever made on EVE? Was that somebody followed somebody because they did a certain action, and they went to fight somebody, and I can't remember what that trailer was, but that's that whole mentality, right? If we follow somebody into a larger, bigger collective, right?
I think that's one of the problems with CCP is like right now I think they're in the mentality where any random new player, and I'm not trying to talk shit about random new players here, every random new player has the same value to CCP as, I don't know, someone massive like the Matani, Pro God Legend, just to name two off the top of my head, people who probably, there are significant amounts of people who would not be playing the game without those personalities being involved in our community. There are powerful leaders who keep people involved in communities by sheer force of personality and force of will, and that's not an irreplaceable pool for you to pull from. Like, the more you have, the better, sure, but that doesn't, like, if you're trying to get new players and basically gambling that they're going to be as good or better, that's not a gamble I would take every day of the week, realistically.
But again, yeah, look, I am not trying to drive a pitchfork. This is not like a fucking Rip Hard Teg moment where, where he was trying to drive pitchforks and freaking torches and stuff like that to like, and you know what's funny? Back then to like go after Summerblink and shit like that. This is more just a matter of it could be interesting if we could find a way, okay? If we could find a way of getting it to Hilmar. Get it to Hilmar. This is not. I don't think this is about Seagull. I don't think this is about other people kind of lower down the food chain. I think this is this is C-level business decision type stuff. To where I think an element of it they fucked up. They fucked up on what I'll call what is probably for them a cheap end. Okay, I have no idea what freaking community people get paid there. I have no idea what the people who get who engage the community get paid. I'm going to assume for a moment that it's probably not the same thing as somebody who is like a developer of code and stuff like that. So I think, I think kind of a cheaper end of their business probably got fucked. It's certainly not a director of marketing level paycheck. And we all know how good of a fucking job they do with marketing, but anyways, yeah, I don't want to fucking beat a dead horse for the whole fucking night. We did it,
Shots?
we did it a little saner fucking tonight.
Well,
yeah.
at this point, Rip Anger Games 3. Hardly knew ya. So, again, I don't have a dog, in that fight. Pardon the expression. But my fight is, of course, on a more personal level, and that's contrary to what Dirk's been saying. I've developed personal relationships with at least the people who run player events, and I lost that support. So again, where Sothrasil lost support from Logibro, and I kind of feel that pain on a certain extent for player meetups. It sucks to me. I know on a business level, it probably makes sense, going forward. But personally, yeah, I'm pissed. So let's shoot the Jita 4-4 monument.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
and
That's an original idea.
there is that element of it. Okay, there are people out there that had connections with people that got terminated. Look, in a way, it's no different than when you're at your own company or whatever. Here it's kind of this weird freaking mix. It's like customers at your local bank when somebody gets fucking fired. They might be a little upset about it, but you know what? Guess what? They continue to do what it is they do. Here, there are this is a weird fucking game. There are relationships that are developed and whatnot, and yeah, there are some people that I was a little irritated got let go. But overall, I once again do not want to focus on individual names. What I want to focus on is the commitment of the company to maintaining its outreach to the community. That's it. If it were new names, fine, we could deal with that. We can deal with that kind of thing, right? It's more the company's commitment to these things, not necessarily the names that were involved. That can be judged later on. But you know what? Let's move on. We can go to I guess we can go to the monthly economic report. I mean, just to kind of like
Matt Delve.
Fucking Delve, man.
What happened in Delve? Oh my God, I've never seen this before.
14.7 trillion-isk worth of shit that got mined. 14.7 in October when we had eVegas going on. So apparently none of the fucking Delve miners went to eVegas.
I just want to point out the second place on there.
Forge.
Show you guys.
As far as I remember, that was Quarius.
Oh yes.
That's pretty lit, TBH.
Yeah. So was it Aquarius?
I didn't even.
Yeah, I think it was Quarius. I mean, production was of course the Forge.
Yeah, okay. So I linked it in chat.
It's Aquarius.
Wait, are you talking about amount produced or mined?
Mined.
Mined.
So
All the
Don't
it's hard to
Aquarius,
tell.
it's gonna be
Declan,
on
the
the other-
Forge.
It's hard to tell because all the like Delve is this giant bar and the rest are just slivers. Like
Well,
it's hard to
Yeah,
tell.
you can
No,
enlarge
no,
it,
we-
Drayden,
no.
and read the name.
Because Quarius is not. Am I reading this right? Quarius is not on the bar chart.
Wait,
Yeah, I'm
total
looking at the
mining
bar
value
chart.
by region? Delve, Quarius, Declan, the Forge? Is that what you guys are looking at?
No, we're looking.
I'm looking at the summary of key economic figures by region, and
Right.
Aquarius isn't even on the chart there.
Oh, I'm looking at total mining value by region.
But yes, we can go down there and look at that.
Okay, so I'm
and
just
look
going.
at
Okay, let's just do the bar
Aquarius.
chart real quick though. So mining value, Delve,
2.5 trillion.
14 point. Okay, so 2.5 trillion. Yeah, because the next highest one I see on the bar chart is Declan, which was 1.9 trillion. Not that much, but
Right.
14.7. Okay, so here's the thing that I saw about Delve. Mining value 14.7 trillion. Imports 80.8 trillion. Exports, like, doesn't even register a number. It's a sliver. So it's like we're mining a fuck ton, bringing in a fuck ton, and exporting nothing. And
That
then
means
production.
that
Building
means
an army.
every Astra house there is just a giant pinata of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, it's like if you look at here's the thing that was really surprising: production. The Forge, which is where everyone builds everything, 26.8
No.
trillion. Delve 24.8 trillion. Like we almost beat the Forge in production.
And yeah, sorry, I was working today, people. I didn't have like a time to like go through this entire freaking thing. However, I did go to that one, looked over and saw 14.7 trillion. Number one, look, if you see 14.7 trillion in Delve, I gotta figure there's gonna be some rollover into Aquarius as well. All right. As far as I know, as far as I can recall, that 14.7 trillion is the largest number ever as far as fucking mind goes, and that just fucking blew me away. It really did.
That what
It's
did
like,
Quant say that, or are you just assuming, like based on what
no,
we know?
I mean well, number one, nothing was ever bigger before monthly economic reports, and I'm pretty sure that is literally the biggest ever. Like even in the heyday of Rorquals doing crazy fucking shit.
Yeah. Now this
Like
this
which
includes
means
the
a few
moon
months
materials
ago.
though too, right? This is not just asteroid belts anymore. This is moon materials as well.
I don't
No, because
think that
almost all of the Goon ones have been set for a long period.
Oh, so most of them haven't even been mined yet.
Yeah, I don't
Most
think
of them
that,
are on
I don't think they
58.
made any change to
Okay.
where. Well, okay.
Okay, so
No,
this does
no,
include moon
that
mining, but
hadn't
it's
actually
like the
kicked in
Delve
yet.
mining is not really most of that is not moon stuff anyway. I would
Right.
assume.
I mean, because it was what, the 24th of October that even that.
Right, so it
that
only
even
would have
that
been
part
like a
kicked in?
week, but you would have had like a day or two to
Yeah.
put your thing up, and then at least yeah. So I don't even
Um,
think any of this is moon stuff.
And that's going to be one.
during.
That's going to be one of the
100%
oddities
sure,
next month.
Because during Amsterdam, CCP posted stats about moon mining, and at that point, goons were like Delph was the only region that hadn't extracted any moon mats then. And I think it was the only region.
Yep. Yeah. Next month next month we're going to be moving into kind of a new sort of metric, right? To where all that moon stuff ends up coming, coming into it as well. And we're not going to be able to make valid comparisons to the past. So this was really the last time that we'll be able to look at it and sit there and go, what does this look like relative to the last, I don't know, whatever it is, like 19 months
Well, I wonder if they'll have a
of
separate
data.
metric like for regular materials mined and moon materials mined. I wonder if they'll make a separate metric for that.
That would be nice.
Because it would be
That-
easy, like it
that
would be
really
easy for
would
them
be
to
nice.
split it up that way. They could do
Which
it.
means I should tweet.
Would that
on-
be? Well, would that be like too much? I'm thinking, but maybe would that be too much intel? Like if you're saying there's
No,
a
it
lot
would
of
not
moons.
be too much intel.
Not really.
You don't
'cause
think so?
it's-
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, if you're given how much you're mining and it's like whether it's moon. But the other thing that I saw, I forget what article it was. I think it was something about the moon current status. Or I forget where I got it, but I was just like browsing through stuff today, and I saw that current moon mining up to this point, like 76% of it has been done in nullsec, 24% lowsec, which makes sense, obviously. But what is the percentage ratio of like nullsec systems to lowsec systems? Obviously, there's more nullsec systems than lowsec, but I'm wanting to know like what's the ratio of like if you compare them together like on like a system to system ratio balance, how much more percentage of moon materials being mined in nullsec compared to lowsec on, if you were like to ratio it out.
That number doesn't matter though. Like, it's the same thing with people like complaining that there's so many good moons in were in Delph and Aquarius and Fountain. If you look at it, the number that matters for this is the amount of moons you have in that region, because Delph, Aquarius, and Fountain are the 3 regions with the most moons in the games, and by far, if I remember correctly. So that's the number you're looking for. How many moons are there in lowsec compared to how many moons are in nullsec?
Gotcha.
And to answer that question, I have no clue.
Yeah, because and that's a good point. Like, I mean, the dispersion of moons and the prevalence of moons will affect and skew that to where you can't just make like a blanket statement like I was trying to make. But I'm just wondering because like if they were to just because that's region to region, but take out the regions and just say like there's this many moons in lowsec and there's this many moons in nullsec. So obviously there's more moons in nullsec, so the numbers, even if they were like per system like a per capita type system, we're mining roughly the same amount per system on average in lowsec as nullsec. Nullsec would still have more amount mined, but I'm trying to figure out like obviously nullsec is going to get mined the shit out of because it's a lot safer. Lowsec is not, so it's going to get mined less. But I want it because obviously there's a bunch. Like, the fact that it was 24% is a lot higher than I was expecting. I was expecting, like, something like, 10%. So, obviously, there's a lot more moon mining going on in lowsec than I expected. And I'm wondering, like, how prevalent it actually is compared to how many moons there are there.
Well, there's the fact that this data was pretty early on, right? Like someone already said, there's alliances going for the long run, and like that's probably true for a lot of nullsec alliances. They're gonna set it for a long timer, so they have lots of time to plan shit, and they're just gonna like take in a few things so there's money rolling, right? So I personally would expect these numbers to change a bit over time.
Yeah, because it's still pretty early, so like there's time for it to like settle still, but yeah, because I was just curious. I mean, like, because it just seems like I wouldn't mind mining in lowsec just seems so fucking dangerous unless you have like really solid control of your system. It just
seems so dangerous.
It does. It's like throwing dead fish in the ocean and then
Noisy
saying, "Let's go
mines
for
there
a
all the
swim."
time.
I mean,
he's got like 14 trillion ISK in his wallet because he mines in lowsec and like just nobody else mines there, so he's just got like all kinds of shit.
Well, it's like there's less people doing it, so it could be lucrative, but at the same time, it's like there's no control. Like lowsec is fucking, it's the Thunderdome of Eve. Like
it's so much fun. I love lowsec.
Lowsec scares the shit out of me. It's like swimming in the ocean. I just refuse to do it. I can't do it. You can't force me.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, the number for bounties. Whoa, shit. The number for bounties wasn't so. I don't know. It was within, let's call it, normal range. NPC bounties 9.2 trillion ISK in Delve, 3 trillion in Declan. Declan also had, excluding Delve, reasonable mining numbers. 3.1 trillion in Esoteria, 4 trillion in Branch. Probably go down to this other.
Yeah, Goon Rorquals will blot out the sun. Just saying.
Where's Tenal in this? 1.9 trillion in Tenal. Yeah, I mean, mining looks to be generally. Ratting looks to be generally in line with some past figures. Man, that fucking 14.7 trillion mining. It's just, I mean, once again, this is kind of one of those things where it's like, where's it all going? But more importantly, what's it all going to do, right? I mean, because this has been kind of one of the things that people have been speculating out there, in watching the great giant resource race that is Delve versus the world. Yeah, what's it all going to do? I mean, is it going to do anything? Is there a purpose to it, or are people? Is it just like building? Is it just building this freaking iron wall of you'll never come here, and once in a while we'll do something like send typhoons to the north or something? Does it mean anything? I mean, do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like you would think that you would see after. I mean, what is it now? Like basically, it's coming. It's got to be coming up on a year, a little more than a year now, actually. Of just massive buildup. At some point, the tiger must be awoken. Or not.
Oh man, if I'd have known you would have said that, I would have had some.
Eye of the Tiger.
I would have had some Dio prepped up. Yeah.
Oh.
Damn. The moment's lost. I can't go get it now. It's too forced at that point.
You gotta sing it.
It's too
You gotta
forced.
acapella.
It's the eye of the tiger. No, I'm done.
No, see what?
It's good. Good effort.
That's not fucking Dio. Eye of the Tiger wasn't Dio, dude.
What? Oh no, that's Holy
just so
Diver.
you know.
I'm thinking Holy Diver.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck. All right. Yeah.
Fucking
yeah.
Harry out there right
Baby
now is
boomers,
going,
God.
"Oh."
Wait. Who's saying Eye of the Tiger? John
Survivor.
Lennon? It was John Lennon.
Survivor.
Fucking Survivor, bro.
Oh, I don't even know who that is. I've heard the song.
Anyways.
Wow.
Shots?
Total production value by region only 24 point. Let's call it 24.8 trillion in Delve. 26.8 in the Forge. I mean, just huge fucking numbers. At some point, that freaking beast has got to do something with that stuff.
Woo!
Who joined? Who joined
Drunk
us?
Canadian.
Oh, Drunk Canadian.
PTC.
I think he's on his phone. His PC took a shit.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all solid numbers. I was looking at. Go back to the actual first one, production versus destruction. We're back to some of our highest levels as far as overall mind went. Since back in the heyday of the Rorqual.
Hello?
What's up? Amount destroyed is at its highest level. It looks like
Who's roboting?
overall. So I mean, the amount of stuff destroyed is looking rather solid. Production has is down a bit, but whatever.
Jerk, you're lagging a bunch, but Ghetto Ghost is asking, did someone ask about the thoughts of the nullsec, Garista Sotillo found? And I think I saw Jebby. I think Jebby found the Garistas one at one point, didn't he? But has anyone actually farmed those yet? Like they've been doing the Blood Raiders one?
Jabai.
Jaboy.
Jabi.
So has anyone found the Garistas one or run it at all or anything? Oh, Ghetto Ghost found it too. So I'm assuming either TeamSpeak died, or that nobody actually found and was farming the Garistas.
So I was
pretty sure someone's
typing.
found it,
I was
but
typing
they haven't
to
found a
someone
way
that wanted
to farm
code.
it
Man, I think Dirk just dropped.
Yeah, I don't see Dirk either. So
Yeah,
Explains the
dropped.
long empty pauses.
all right, so Apple Pear is
He's
saying
talking.
they found the
Oh, no-
Garistas
oh, no,
one
he's back.
and
He did
Serpentis
drop. He came
phase.
back.
What the fuck?
Did you drop
Garistas
out?
was found
Yeah,
last
you're
week.
I'm probably getting
robot-
fucking DDoSed.
You got. Oh,
You robot and you lagged
not
out.
The DDoS. The DDoS. No one wants the DDoS.
Probably getting fucking DDoSed.
Yeah, nobody did a.
Pulling my nads.
Who got DDoSed? Yeah. There's no DDoSing going on here.
Yeah, so have people been running it, or are they just kind of found and there's no, I guess, local groups or something waiting to kill it?
Well, the thing is, I mean, I kind of worked on killing the Blood Raider one and designing the ships for it, and you actually need to put some thought into it and a lot of testing. So I would expect a few fleets to die to the thing before it dies.
Alright, so, and I'm guessing whatever strategy you used isn't, like, out yet. Also, does anyone else noticing Dirk's camera moved really, really fast? I'm watching it on live stream right now.
No, it seems fine.
Camera,
weird.
his
Yeah,
camera, like, lagged, and then it moved really, really, really fast.
It's like when fast forward for like about 3 seconds. It was really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know if I should call it out. Oh, apparently Johnny Splunk or Eve Scout found one and tried to do it with a small group, and it apparently did not go too well. Thank you, Michelle. That sounds terrible.
Well, CCP also said that this one is a bit harder than the Blood Raider Satio, and let me tell you, we had 35 Tech 2 Logi wrapping my Macarial, tanking all the rats, and it was jumping down between about 30% armor and 100% within like seconds, right? So 1 second it would be down at 30 and then jump up again, and that the whole time. So there's a fair amount of damage coming in.
Alright, apparently Ghetto Ghost was saying the Garistas ones use ECM, so that definitely sounds more terrible than what I thought.
ECM is so good. It's like the best mechanic in this game. Like, they should just remove weapons and ammo and just put ECM as like the firepower in this game. Like, just everyone fights with ECM.
That should be the only way you can shoot
Like,
people. Is
yeah,
just like,
it's just like your
to
ship
damp
should,
'em or to
yeah,
jam 'em or...
your ship should just get jammed out enough that you lose life support systems, and that's how you get potted. Like that
That's
like that.
terrible.
Imagine the cool combat you could have.
no
with just,
guns. We just cut off your.
Like, yeah, like
oxygen.
no explosions, no anything. Just like wub 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 wub, like dubstep lasers going at people, and
Imagine if they
just
changed
the ship
ACM.
going docile. And
Imagine if they changed ECM to where it doesn't affect your targeting at all, but instead it just like blares music through your headphones while you're playing to like try and
Kind of like the
distract
hostage
you.
situation.
when
with
someone
bright lights.
oh, that's what
Yeah,
you do.
yeah.
When someone like jams you, it should just play like Darude Sandstorm, like through your client, and you can't like even if you have the audio muted, it plays Darude Sandstorm anyway.
I would
And that's
probably
what you
honestly, I would actually tolerate that more than actual ECM. If you could like pick a sound clip to like blast in your ears, I would totally
Yeah,
take all the
like-
trolling that people would do.
Dude, like the Falcon fleets would be a new thing. Like ghetto blaster fleet would that would
Just
that-
like
Yep.
like all like pandemic horde like Griffins would have to play like blasting the new Taylor Swift and whatnot.
ECM needs
I-
buffed. Yeah.
Also, Chainsaw Plankton is asking if you can firewall the Garistas missiles. So I'm guessing the Garistas rats actually shoot missiles. I actually don't know if you can. I would assume you could firewall them.
I think
So that would be smart bombing the missiles as they're incoming to a target or whatever.
Okay, I take it back. Marshmallow has a point because people would just play T Swift songs. They would hit you with that soft like pop.
Yeah, but
No,
PL never
you know what,
flies
here's
Griffins. It's
the
always
song.
Horde.
Yeah,
Here's the song that it should play.
but we can't hear it. We heard the beginning and then it stopped.
Can't hear you.
Okay. Oh, wait,
You
wait,
have to
wait.
hold push to talk.
Do I? Oh, it won't
Oh,
post the
I've
top
heard
anymore?
this one. Did it?
Current Craft 400.
Yeah. Zombie Nation.
Yeah. No,
See, it's just not
Yeah.
the same as when DC plays.
No,
across
no.
the
The
soundboard,
best
so-
I don't
we
have
had-
that anymore.
No, the
Marsha,
best-
Marsha, Dirt and Glitter
we
did
can't do
Kesha.
karaoke.
No, the best
So
we had.
Dirt and Glitter did Kesha because
brain power.
name.
Brain power. You just be like, okay, what am I? Oh yeah. Oh, what the? Like whatever that song is. Yeah, brain power. It's the best.
But we got 6 minutes left.
Holy shit! 6 minutes. Where did the time
the-
go?
6 minutes. 6 minutes.
We
6
were-
minutes.
we were
like a
arguing
pressure
about
on.
The
serious
mere
stuff.
fact, the mere fact that I still knows that tells you it was a fucking late night.
Well,
for
the
me,
fact that you
so,
said that you knows it means that you've had a few drinks at least.
I have.
Just a couple.
I knows this.
Well, hey, I can finish up.
Oh,
just give me a couple
Zenver
minutes.
got it. Okay, Zenver. Thank you.
Oh,
Nice.
Zenver
Oh, you know what?
just did what I was looking
You know what?
for. That's the meme right there.
we do have to do a shot because Monday is Blastum's big 5-0 birthday.
Oh,
shit.
yeah. Okay,
So,
yeah. So I actually put on the show
gonna
notes.
have to do that.
Blastum reaches grandpa age.
You're 50, Blastum? I couldn't even tell.
I thank
Yeah.
you. You are. I mean,
Really?
Do you think I was 60?
He looks old as fuck.
He's like 75 at least.
Wow.
on, can
I'm
we-
trying to be nice.
Well,
Dirk.
my chest
I keep
feels
I keep him
75
around.
after
I
being
keep him
grabbed
around
at
just because he's
FanFest.
older than I am.
Can we
Shit.
just call him
Happy
Pap-
birthday, Blast.
Can we call him Pappy Blastum from now on?
Happy
not
Grandpa
Blast
Big
him.
Daddy
Like I don't know what that
Blastum.
accent was. Sorry, I did.
Grampist.
Not Pappy Blastum, but Pappy Blastum. Can we just do that from now on?
Grampy blast him. All right, hey.
Oh
thank
yeah,
you.
birthday shots.
But
Appreciate it.
here's a shot
On
to
Monday.
fucking blast him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so here I can
Big
close
one.
up real
Oh,
quick
that fucking
because
cinnamon.
everything near and dear to me. You all know it.
Yeah.
Eve meets for November. We don't have a lot left because of Thanksgiving, but we've got the Charlotte monthly
Why do we not have an
meetup.
Eve Thanksgiving?
Seriously,
And not
let's
that
do it.
Canada one, but like, you know, real America actual Thanksgiving.
Seriously, and then we got a Sydney meetup on November 25th, and the Charlotte one is November 18th. We have a Houston monthly meetup on the 25th, and that looks like to be about it. Of course,
Eve London. Eve London.
in Eve NT London, yes, that one is next week on the 18th as well. And then going out, I'll just prop up the Goon meet. The Ice Thaw is in Miami. Oh wait, check that. Wait. It is. I know it's in Florida. I'm looking at the site now.
What the fuck is Ice Thaw? Ice Swarm, but that's not until like
it's,
February or something.
It is the Ice Thaw, Ice Swarm 2018, The Thaw. Dun dun dun. It is on March 2nd to the 4th in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, I love
so there's, I'll
Tampa.
link the.
Yeah, before the hurricane. Right now, it's like fucking Puerto Rico.
Perfect. Do it. Let's go. So anyway.
Where's it
for
gonna be
anybody-
at in Tampa? Like, they're just crashing at a hotel, like.
You know what,
Condo
if,
thing?
if you have the link to the Goon Swarm forums, I will post that in
Yeah, link it
chat
to
right
me.
now.
I wonder
think
if
I
Marcia
remember my
goes. I
password.
wonder if Marcia goes to the London to the Vito meetup.
So
to
the Houston monthly
event
meet
in
is
London.
open to anyone. The
But she
Houston
doesn't.
monthly one. You hush. The Houston monthly meet is open to anyone. Like, people just show up and it's like y'all hang out in a bar and this and that. Why does sign in? Oh, it remembered me. Oh, thank God.
All right, Sumi saying nobody comes to Indiana. I feel you, man. Nobody comes to Idaho either.
Fucking Eve, Idaho, man.
'Cause it's
Eve,
Idaho.
Idaho,
Why would anybody
2021.
go?
We're happening. Eve, Idaho, January 14th,
Eve
2018.
Daho.
Let's
Eve
do
Daho.
it, you and me, Drayden.
North Idaho.
Eve Daho.
Yeah, making it happen.
Eve Daho.
The cat makes it happen.
Eve Hoedown.
All right. We got 2
Eve,
minutes
Eve,
left.
Idaho would be like a white
We
supremacist.
got 2
fucking
minutes
hangout.
left. Freelancer wants happy birthday karaoke. This is no
I mean,
longer.
just like every adversity.
This is
meetup.
no
Can't
longer.
you hear
So we
it
can
anymore?
sing!
Yeah, the happy birthday song is no longer copyrighted, so we can sing this and it won't get muted on YouTube. Just so you're
Wait.
in case you're worried.
All right, ready?
Seriously?
Yeah,
Ready,
like-
guys? Are you all ready?
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to you.
To you.
Happy birthday to you.
you.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, dear
Blastum.
Happy.
Happy
birthday
to you.
Oh, that
See, we
was
should have
so
like done that like
Thank
2 minutes
you.
from fucking
Shots.
now, because then we could have just been like, peace out, bitches. Well,
Well,
we can't.
no,
we still
not
got like
quite there
a
yet.
couple
Can't.
of minutes. Or...
We gotta make a
Yeah,
minute and a
it's
half.
like,
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know why.
We've
I thought
always
that,
got to go like a minute over. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know why I thought that song would take 2
Hey.
minutes, but
Tomorrow, if we're talking in stations, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about or whatever. But like, listen to me. If they don't start right on time, start raging in the Talking in Stations channel. I start, raging in the freaking Twitch channel about why is it they can't get their fucking act together and go on time. I mean, it's like it's not that fucking hard to be up and going on time. Be fucking prompt. 5 minutes, early is 5 minutes fucking late. Just saying.
All right, so
I mean, I'm not gonna be there, but it's like whatever.
so
Guys,
we're gonna do
let's do
shout
shout-outs.
outs. So shout out to Jay McLean doing the Veterans Day
Tomorrow.
Memorial Room tomorrow. Definitely show up. Definitely hang out. Either participate and join the MPSI
Or shoot us.
fly against them. Yeah, or fly against them. It'll be super fun. And if you are a streamer, definitely feel free to stream it. I know Jay is looking for or is like totally
Oh,
open
God.
to having streamers and whatnot.
Araya-
So
Araya-
Drayden, you should do your Eve stream.
Eve stream. You know how many times I've streamed
Stream
Eve?
it tomorrow. None, but you should stream the
I'll
Memorial
do it.
or
Yeah,
the
I'll do it.
Veterans Day room
Jeff
tomorrow.
Vader's gonna do it. I'll stream it. Fuck it. I'll do it
Yeah.
live.
All right, any other shout outs?
Araya just clipped the happy birthday song, so that's great. That's
Great.
forever. That's forever.
I just want to tell all the veterans out there, thank you for your service.
Yes. All right.
Because I know you.
All right.
Because I know you love fucking hearing
All right.
that.
So Julie's
That's
up
you,
next.
Game McClane.
Games Poner's coming on right now. We're out of here. Shots to the road. And later, bitches.
Later,
Later,
bitches.
bitches.
Later, bitches.
Later, bitches.